Let's dive right into this crazy manhwa, starting with a guy boarding a packed subway car in South Korea. He looks at the people around him, thinking about finally reuniting with his family after wrapping up his deliveries. It has been a seriously long time. Except that is just a fantasy. In reality, he has not met a single living soul. He is just standing there completely lost in his imagination, picturing a reunion and remembering his mom. Remembering back when he was tiny, just like that cramped train car. But yeah, the subway, total illusion. In the corner of his actual location sits a literal skeleton. Just a corpse. No cozy house, no bustling city anywhere in sight. Welcome to the post-apocalyptic wasteland. An old guy once told him that 40 years ago, way before he was born, the world was completely different. Peaceful, safe, but then an absolute tragedy struck out of nowhere. Massive black pillars dropped right out of the sky. Just an unknown storm of destruction hitting like giant apocalyptic bombs. And boom, the world ended. Nothing left but rubble and a few scattered survivors. At least that is the old man's crazy story. Honestly, half the old guy's tales were total nonsense. But this made the least sense of all. A subway strangers packed together in a tiny metal tube, that sounds like an absolute death wish. The old guy claimed it worked because the ancient era was super peaceful. Our boy just does not buy it. He knows the peaceful era died ages ago. Honestly, anyone tossing around the word peace today is straight up crazy. Still, riding a high-speed underground train sounded kinda cool. But suddenly, inside this ruined building, he hears heavy footsteps echoing nearby and quickly ducks into hiding. Two armed soldiers sniffing around for any survivors or loot. Now, watch closely because things are about to get tense. He tries slipping past quietly, but the blood-stained soldier totally spots his tracks. The other guy turns rifle raised, asking who is there. As our boy stands up, the soldier tells him to stay perfectly calm. He mutters to his partner that it is just some postman given the outfit. Our guy claps back, saying they were making way too much noise. The confused soldier asks what the heck he is delivering here. He casually explains he is delivering an aerial invasion warning. Just finishing up his daily route, no big deal. He easily notices their fresh battle scars. Clearly, these two just barely survived a nasty, brutal fight. The soldier fakes sympathy, apologizing and asking if he is hungry. But our postman counters, saying he has extra food and suggests a trade for something actually valuable. The soldier offers up some bandages, a battery, and basic hygiene gear. Nope, the postman wants ammo. The soldiers find this super weird for a mailman, reminding him their assault rifles take 5mm rounds. He smoothly replies that he does not need survival gear, just ammo for personal use. Postmen travel light, see ammunition is the perfect currency. It is tiny, weighs practically nothing, and is worth an absolute fortune out here. But the soldier shoots that down, saying they gotta save their bullets. Our guy pushes back, offering a snack and water for literally just one bullet. The soldier is shocked. All that food for a single round. He completely confirms it. No more, no less, just one single bullet. The soldier stubbornly refuses. He tries sweetening the deal, offering a lighter instead of bullets. The postman smirks. Is giving up one bullet really that hard? Or wait, are these guys completely out of ammo? They instantly tense up. One shoves his gun right at the postman's head aggressively, threatening to show him exactly what an empty cartridge looks like. The postman stays perfectly chill. He mentions they all work for the government, so why the sudden violent hostility? The masked guy snaps. They cannot go back anyway, calling him a useless postman. Rude, honestly. But our main character calmly asks why they cannot return. We all see it now, right? These guys aren't survivors, they're straight up bandits. The first guy swings his rifle butt, but our guy easily dodges. Smash, a brutal knee strike completely shatters the soldier's mask visor. The helmeted guy lunges with a knife, but the postman casually sidesteps the attack. He notices the clumsy aim for his neck. Way too obvious. Our boy counters instantly with a massive punishing kick right to the face. Stunned, the knife guy demands to know how a mere postman fights like that. Our guy sighs. He never actually stated his job, and honestly, getting called a lowly postman on repeat is getting pretty insulting at this point. He rushes the guy, letting the knife graze his arm to reveal a solid metal guard totally hidden under his sleeve. Wham! A heavy punch drops the enemy cold. The soldier is still crying about why a random postman is rocking a tactical police shield. Our hero just complains about his freshly ripped sleeve sarcastically, asking how this guy plans to pay for the damages. He seriously asks if the guy can sew, but trust me, you are going to love this ending. He casually draws a pistol, finally asking for bullets. Stick with me here, you would be just as shocked seeing this absolute nobody holding a hunter pistol. The guy just lazily points at his uniform. His response, just a regular postman obviously. Later on, he is patching up his own torn sleeve, already dreading the massive lecture headquarters is going to give him for ruining company property. Just a quick sloppy stitch job. Hey, as long as nobody notices the massive rip right. After the beating his gear took, he definitely should have looted more off those two goons, but hey, at least he scored enough to fix things. Back on the road. Only 3 hours left until the big aerial invasion drops. He treks onward until a fortified base blocks his path. A guard immediately demands some ID. Our guy casually flashes his uniform and credentials, dropping the bomb that an aerial invasion is coming hot. 2 hours and 40 minutes on the clock. The rookie guard nervously asks his veteran partner if this guy is actually legit. The veteran nods. Yep, delivering apocalyptic doom warnings is literally the main job description of a postman here, meaning a massive pillar of destruction is about to crash down. Our postman cuts the chatter, declaring he is heading in to smash that alarm. Panicking, the guard begs him to wait and sprints to fetch the captain, rushing our guy inside before any sirens start blaring. Stepping under a heavy metal roof, the postman is honestly impressed. This dump has managed to survive for this long. Now pay attention. Seeing a real postman totally breaks their hearts because you and I both know what that means. It is time to evacuate. The guard drags him to the captain, who looks aggressively average, but our postman knows the golden rules of surviving a visit to these isolated colonies. Rule number 1. Always memorize the local laws before you do anything stupid. In this broken world, with zero internet or transport, strict rules keep people sane. Every isolated colony makes up its own insane survival laws. Translation: you keep your mouth completely shut until the boss talks to you first. The colony leader finally approaches, slaps him on the shoulder, and plays the nice guy. He mentions the rough journey and offers a drink to chill out. Later, at the local bar, the leader drops the act. Avoiding a mass panic, he quietly asks if that giant black pillar is literally dropping on their heads. The postman just nods. Yep, headquarters ran the math impact in roughly 2 hours. The leader scoffs, saying those fancy numbers mean absolutely nothing to him, and demands to know if the postman can actually translate the data. The answer: a flat no. Desperate, the leader then asks for their actual survival odds against this crazy aerial invasion. Our guy shrugs it off. He is no tactical genius, just your friendly neighborhood postman. But the leader keeps pushing, insisting he must have survived one of these drops before. The postman just coldly replies that he has no clue. An angry guard snaps, telling him to get out. The leader calls for peace, but the postman casually mentions he cannot leave, yet he is still on the clock. Gotta love government work. He casually drops a weird tripod machine right on the floor. I know what you are thinking, why measure it? Well, it tracks the black pillar impact force to double-check headquarters math. The leader points out their custom-built, invasion-proof roof, nervously asking if that chunk of metal is going to mess up the machine readings. The postman hits him with the hard truth. According to the eggheads, these pillars do not just drop like dumb rocks. They literally act alive, hitting the brakes in the atmosphere to perfectly snipe their target from above. So, a metal roof, completely useless. His only solid piece of advice: you all have exactly 1 hour and 50 minutes left. Stepping out of the office, the whole base swarms him, desperate to trade. Our guy cuts to the chase, who has actual ammo. Dead silence hits the room. Finally, some random guy steps up holding a grenade, admitting he is completely broke on bullets. Fast forward, the trade is done. The leader looks confused, asking why he would swap for a rusty grenade that might be a dud. The postman smirks. Out here, explosives beat antibiotics any day, and just by eyeing it, he knows this little beauty will definitely go boom. Then he flips the question: why is nobody evacuating? The leader stubbornly claims he is staying put, praying that flimsy roof actually holds up. And of course, the stubborn leader has one massive favor to ask before doomsday. Enter a creepy little kid who has been staring him down all day. She introduces herself as Gyeonghui, a total stranger to him. She needs to reach headquarters and demands to tag along. The leader explains she is supposedly carrying something super important to deliver, and it would just be way cheaper if our postman escorted her personally. Annoyed, the postman demands to know why she has to physically come along when she could literally just hand over the damn package. He tells her to get lost. He claims the only thing allowed to follow him around is his own shadow. Gyeonghui claps back, boldly declaring she will be his shadow. He challenges her, asking if she can actually handle that. He warns her a shadow never leaves because the owner cannot ditch it. Right on cue, the kid hilariously clicks on a bright flashlight. The postman totally loses it, yelling at her for wasting precious battery life on a stupid joke, and drops a hard no. But then she pulls out ammo. Trust me, you and I gotta see this. Alright, let's dive into this madness. The leader stepped up, saying ammo wasn't for that. He questioned postman trust. The postman just examined the rounds. This colony looked way too broke to safely entrust a little kid with top-tier, high-grade military ammunition. The cartridge was practically full, and the girl clearly had a weapon on her back. The postman bluntly stated that this ammo only bought a message, but the leader stood firm. He wanted the postman to escort Gyeonghui straight to headquarters while he stayed behind. This place was their home, so someone had to stay and protect it. He couldn't let the kid do it alone. The postman simply replied, "A roof can be rebuilt any time, sir." He ordered the girl to follow him immediately. Once outside, he warned they had to move fast. The aerial invasion was starting very soon. Gyeonghui looked up, asking if a simple roof could actually stop the pillar. The postman bluntly said no. She demanded to know why he hadn't warned them. Stubborn people won't leave no matter what, he explained. Plus, there is always a tiny chance, just a very minimal possibility of actually surviving. Just like he managed to survive. 30 minutes left until the aerial invasion. Above the colony, the raging storm grew even stronger. Now watch this closely. The guard from earlier asked if the captain planned to escape. The captain sighed. This place had been their beloved home for years, and he was determined to protect them this time too. The guard joked that at least he was finally drinking his aged whiskey. The captain smiled and told him to pour a glass too. The guard asked if the gruff postman had said anything else. The leader pondered those final parting words. A roof can be rebuilt, but he brushed it off, assuming the postman was just selfish. Meanwhile, Gyeonghui was happily chewing some dried meat. The postman joked her tiny bag was a bottomless pit. Food just kept magically appearing. She offered him a bite, but he politely passed, choosing to inspect the ammo cartridge. Every cartridge held exactly 30 bullets, but one single round was missing. It had been fired. He knew the captain wouldn't just pocket a bullet before giving it to a kid. Someone fired it. Gyeonghui smiled, thanking him for keeping his promise. The captain had promised her she could fully trust any postman working for the government. Even so, she had been secretly terrified he would steal the ammo and ditch her. The postman scoffed. Nothing to abandon here. She was tagging along on her own, and honestly, he didn't care what she did anyway. She insisted on thanking him properly and flipped him the middle finger. The postman blinked, asking if she even knew what that gesture meant. She confidently replied that back in her colony it meant pure gratitude. He sighed, explaining that gestures change depending on the region, but there's one universal sign. He reached over, grabbing her hand to pull her thumb up. You feel that tension drop, right? Suddenly a chill hit her spine. The postman declared aerial invasion time. They ducked behind a nearby concrete wall as she clamped her ears tightly against the deafening roar. The postman then began to mutter like a prayer, as if the sky held a silent rage. Massive black pillars slammed into the earth like giant needles. The girl looked totally lost. He explained it was a famous quote from one of the very first people to survive an aerial invasion. Decades had passed since the ancient world fell apart, and these massive pillars were the exact reason humanity could never properly rebuild. It felt almost intelligent. They ruthlessly targeted and completely obliterated major institutions. The only true safe zones were headquarters and the underground geofront. Then the brutal black pillars crashed onto that colony. A massive, deafening explosion erupted. A blinding white flash. Soon after, the masked postman stood quietly surveying the destroyed rubble. That colony had terrible luck. Not every single aerial invasion dropped a pillar that huge. He only went back to grab the measuring device. In a world without networks, any gear containing communication cores was unbelievably rare. But when he finally got there, the device was trashed. He told the kid they had to return to headquarters. She stared at her ruined home for a moment before silently following him to the car. Eventually, the tears started falling. The postman sighed, saying these black pillars were absolute disasters, but they brought one beautiful thing. Right after an aerial invasion, the stars shined way brighter than any other normal day. The night sky looked absolutely breathtaking. He muttered that he was just saying it wasn't all bad news. She sniffled, asking if he was trying to comfort her. He scoffed. He just hated crying, and with a long road ahead, crying only wasted energy. She smiled, asking why he did this job. He said it was super obvious. To survive, obviously don't ask stupid questions. Then he asked what kind of crazy delivery was worth all the effort she carried, but she playfully noted he hadn't shared his own story yet. Trust me, you'll want to see what's next. He grumbled she was a pain, showing his subway keychain. Let's dive right into this wild post-apocalyptic world. He explained these ancient machines once carried people everywhere. She thought the model was incredibly tiny, but he clarified that the real thing was actually massive. He told her to picture rushing underground with hundreds of passengers, a magical subway system taking you exactly where you needed to be. It was just a relic from the old world now, but he dreamed of riding one. She smiled, calling him surprisingly innocent. Then he got serious, asking how long she planned to keep secrets. Was she hiding one of the bullets from that cartridge the captain gave her earlier? He honestly did not want her ammunition. He only wanted to scare her into being quiet, but she casually claimed she ate it. The postman froze. What? Why on earth would someone eat a bullet? She totally deadpanned that they ran out of dried meat, leaving absolutely zero food left. The postman knew starving kids might chew their own fingernails, but swallowing a literal bullet, that was insane. He sighed, telling her to just ask for food next time and he would share. But suddenly, a chilling noise echoed through the ruins. They immediately ducked behind a broken wall. He whispered for Gyeonghui to freeze. Now watch this part closely. Pitch-black monsters born from the dark pillars appeared sporting one terrifying eye. He readied his knife, but boom. Before he even moved, Gyeonghui blasted the first monster into oblivion. Yep, the crazy kid was actually hiding a bullet the whole time. Absolute madness. The gunshot immediately lured more creatures over, so the postman quickly sliced the nearest monster's throat with his blade. But a third one lunged. He moved lightning fast, attempting to jam his knife right through its skull. Too slow. Before his strike landed, the beast shot its arm out like a spear, impaling Gyeonghui's chest. Heartbroken, the postman demanded to know why she moved. Why didn't she just listen to him? Coughing blood, she admitted his tiny knife just did not seem like enough protection. He desperately asked if she had lied from the beginning about hiding that bullet. She gasped out that the captain taught her the brutal rules of this ruined world. You always need a hidden card to survive. But then she smiled, calling him incredible for actually taking down those nightmare monsters. The postman checked her terrible wound. 0.9% survival chance. Even with all his medical supplies, hope was completely gone. That loud gunshot was definitely dragging a horde their way, but right now, those stupid survival odds meant nothing. Gyeonghui knew she was done for. She begged for one final favor: deliver her heavily guarded letter. The destination, Yeongdongpo in Seoul. He stubbornly told her that delivery was not worth risking his own life. She pleaded with him to do it, just as he noticed the monster horde closing in. She asked for his stolen colony grenade, telling him to treat her as his freight now. She forced him to promise sealing the deal with a bloody pinky swear. As the endless swarm of monsters surrounded the little girl, they completely missed the live grenade. You and I both know this hurts. She blows the monsters up, he delivers the letter. Flashing one final brave smile, she blew everything sky high. When the dust finally settled into ash, the postman quietly used his knife to finish off a single twitching monster left over. Reaching into the beast's ruined skull right where its creepy eye used to be, he ripped out a monster core. Staring up at the bleak sky, he muttered that this horrific day would give him nightmares for a long time. Sometime later, he arrived at the new government headquarters. Director Bae walked right up, noting he had just finished work. He pointed out, the postman looked absolutely awful. Did the mission go south? The postman simply replied, no, nothing much. Director Bae quickly reminded him about an upcoming special mission briefing. He warned him not to skip it, hinting it would be incredibly important for his future. Woo Jungguk brushed him off, claiming exhaustion, but the director swore it was something he absolutely needed to hear. Later on, sitting in the briefing room with other government postmen, Woo Jungguk completely zoned out. Gyeonghui's tragic sacrifice kept haunting him. Suddenly, another postman raised a question. If this new delivery was so massive, what vehicles were they using? The official smirked, calling it a top-secret surprise they would discover shortly. He then revealed the planned transport route. People immediately called it impossible, but the official dropped a bomb. The underground subway was currently being rebuilt. Woo Jungguk's eyes went wide. Was the legendary subway actually a real thing? The official revealed their massive goal: transporting critical war supplies across major connection points. To pull this off, they were secretly restoring those ancient subway lines. But fixing the whole system required a ton of dangerous prep work first. Another official stepped up to explain everything. This crazy operation was strictly reserved for those with flawless performance records. And that is where we leave it. High reward points for a wild mission. Trust me, you want more. Let's dive right in. Jungguk had never seen this guy before. The official announced that volunteers could head to the next room. Jungguk was hyped. In his entire life, he never imagined he would actually get to see a real subway. Maybe he'd even ride it, but nope. The official called him an exception and dragged him straight to his office. Jungguk was confused, asking why he was pulled aside when he was just about to enter the other room. The official handed over a personal mission specifically for Jungguk. Since this random guy knew his exact face and name, our postman immediately got a seriously bad feeling. He handed over a document. A simple delivery right in the G-Man district, a totally government-controlled residential zone. Deliveries there were a total joke, making Jungguk instantly suspicious. Why give him something so easy? Maybe Director Bae was terrified of losing him and wanted to keep him safe. After all, his wins were the director's wins too. Jungguk shrugged and asked if he should start right now. But the official coldly said no. That job was going to someone else. Jungguk frowned, asking why even show it then. The guy smirked, saying he was just giving an update and that staff delegation was his department anyway. Jungguk stared at him. So, you're explaining this just to bench me? The official nodded. Yep, exactly that. Then he dropped the real reason Jungguk's track record was way too perfect. Now watch this. Being that perfect was extremely suspicious. Like he never existed before becoming a postman. Hiding an identity that perfectly was incredibly rare. There definitely had to be a dark secret behind it. And this official absolutely hated people coasting on special connections. Jungguk glared, asking if that was an insult. The guy just smiled. No, just an introduction. He just really hated cheaters who cut corners. Jungguk fired back, saying he had been curious about the official too, almost enough to actually open up to him. The official ignored that, asking if he checked his own record. Gyeongguk proudly confirmed he was always in first place. But the official hit him with reality he had never actually done anything truly difficult. Gyeongguk smoothly countered. He just finished all his intense missions without breaking a single sweat. The guy stated that this operation required true elites. Gyeongguk asked, "So you don't trust me just because I never took a massive risk?" Pretty much the official confirmed. Right then his walkie-talkie started buzzing loudly. He answered, pausing their chat for later. Gyeongguk instantly knew this was his opening. Time to show them a real special express delivery. Later on, Director Bae called the whole idea completely impossible. Well, possible but absolutely brutal. Bae looked at him asking if he was actually stealing the mission. "You and I know it's not stealing." Gyeongguk smirked, saying he was just guaranteeing a totally perfect job. Bae sighed. Changing the paperwork was simple, but Gyeongguk had literally never asked for a favor like this before. Since when was he buddies with that official? And why the sudden obsession with getting this specific delivery mission? Gyeongguk just said it was a work in progress. Bae told him not to die. Time for Gyeongguk to show his true legendary capabilities. He was so close to finally seeing that subway. Walking away, he calculated his grim survival odds. His mind drifted to Gyeonghui. Even if she somehow made it out alive, her injuries would be absolutely devastating. Even throwing all their medicine and emergency treatments at her, the odds of keeping her alive were basically zero. He remembered her thanking him one last time, then suddenly woke up in bed. Next morning, he tracked down Glasses Guy and pointed out that the little letter he was holding was his next delivery. The official snapped that he was busy and to back off. Gyeongguk smirked. He was busy too, delivering that exact letter. The guy scoffed. Impossible. He had personally checked the assigned postman's name multiple times today. "Too bad that guy couldn't make it," Gyeongguk replied. He was filling in, and all the paperwork was totally flawless. Everything was perfectly changed following those strict protocols the official absolutely loved to enforce. Plus, if he smashed this job a full day early, he'd prove he was ready for the next massive mission. The official asked if this was just a massive ego trip. Gyeongguk shrugged. "Just business." Before leaving, the official warned him. Finish before the deadline without a single scratch and then he might just consider it. Gyeongguk checked the sender. Cho Younghan sent straight from the brand new government complex. The name wasn't familiar at all. But wildly the envelope was covered in cute little bunnies. Totally not the dark vibe he expected. As he packed the letter, he saw the core. The brutal cost of Gyeonghui's sacrifice. "Trust me, this gets wild." He really needs a second before moving any forward. Let me paint you a picture. The skies threw a massive tantrum, dropping black pillars like giant needles. Darkness spilled out and suddenly demons were everywhere, treating humanity like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But hey, amidst all that total despair, the heavens dropped one final gift. A core. A tiny drop of hope, or maybe just another miserable curse. Our guy Woo Jungguk might have actually scored a super rare core, but he has zero clue how much it is worth. So he drags it over to Hee Wong, the local core appraiser. Jungguk asks the old guy to check it out, promising he would totally pay the standard appraisal fee. Hee Wong questions how a simple postman got this. Jungguk just repeats he will pay. The old man instantly calls it trash. He says checking it is like eating fancy sushi and then inspecting your own crap to see if it tastes different. Gross. He does not even need to scan it. It is pure garbage. Jungguk has dealt with this dude for years, but never gets recognized. The poor old guy's memory is totally shot. Left with no choice, Jungguk pulls out his classic trick. He claims he delivered a message to Hee Wong's daughter, and she sent her deepest thanks back. The old man brushes it off, saying she did not need to thank him, but agrees to do the inspection right then. Jungguk insists on paying anyway, slapping some shiny ammunition down on the table as his hard cash. He only used the daughter story to make the old guy actually do his job, not to freeload. You and I know the real truth. He never even met the daughter. Hee Wong does not even have a daughter. His dementia is so bad he just hallucinated a kid that never existed. Mentioning her gets Jungguk what he wants. But hey, he still pays, so it is a win-win. Hee Wong returns claiming it is the highest purity he has ever seen, and because it is so pure, totally useless. Do not even bother using it. The failure rate is 99%. Cores are insanely dangerous toys. This ruined world has tons of core types. Energy ones replace normal electricity. Communication cores link people up. But the absolute jackpot skill cores that give you straight-up superpowers. Most fail, 95% of the time. Better left untouched. Jungguk groans, wondering why he had to pull this specific trash drop. And of course, the one person he desperately wanted to avoid suddenly shows up. Dr. Mong, the government doc. She glares, asking if he is bothering the old appraiser again. She scolds him for exploiting the imaginary daughter thing, calling it super cruel. Jungguk defends himself, shouting that he always pays up. She snaps back that it is about basic humanity, calling him a total sociopath. Jungguk just shrugs. It is definitely not his first time pulling a shady scam. To steal a mission from Yonghan, he once bribed director Ba to fudge the paperwork. The gig was already assigned to another postman, so he lied saying the guy was sick. He felt awkward doing it face to face, so he left a sticky note. Dr. Mong sighs, asking if he could at least visit the clinic sometimes. Jungguk grumbles that this nagging is exactly why he avoids her. She reminds him he owes her big time. He rolls his eyes, saying sure, but asks for a little more respect. Now here is where we get some juicy lore. He used to be a hunter, but now just a postman. Meanwhile, crazy survivors actually used those dangerous cores. Against all the garbage odds, they survived and scored some seriously insane, unique abilities. These superpowered folks became known as hunters, taking on crazy top-secret missions. Jungguk was one of them. Later, he checks his briefing. The Republic of Korea demands Postman Jungguk return safely within 48 hours. Fail to clock in, and they declare him dead, auctioning off all his stuff. Classic government. Jungguk curses Dr. Mong for wasting his precious time. He seriously needs to step on it. The drop-off is AA in Namdong-gu, Incheon. That zone is a total violent war zone. Turf bosses change every 5 minutes, so headquarters has zero clue what is happening there. Worse still, AAA is a weird colony completely infamous for blocking all outsiders. The package must be handed directly to the recipient. But our boy, going full express mode, if he pulls this off fast, those smug corporate bastards will finally respect his skills. He halts at a nice vantage point, realizing it has been forever since he visited. He remembers a cozy safe zone right nearby. So what do you and I see instead? A massive black pillar crushing the only spot that still had comms. Total bummer. Alright, stick with me here. Finding any backup in this wasteland was basically 0%. He could just take another route, but then a voice caught his ear complaining about prices. The second guy demanded a plan. He said if they had spare loot, they should just grab it and bail, even if he had to go solo. Woo Jungguk quickly realized they were two rival postmen bickering. He instantly recognized their faces from the department. Honestly, perfect timing because he desperately needed some backup. The older guy scoffed, saying he wasn't about to trust shady people like that and just walked away. They could do whatever they wanted. The younger postman begged him to at least listen to them. These guys were rocking huge backpacks, hoods up, totally looking like wandering merchants. As Woo Jungguk walked up, one merchant asked his destination. Woo instantly noticed they were trying to strike a deal with some local squad. For a tiny fee, the merchant claimed they could be guides or trade some sweet gear. And hey, don't worry, they totally love peace. Hearing that, Woo Jungguk immediately remembered the golden rule of survival. Anyone preaching peace is absolutely lying, so he turned his back on them too. The older postman laughed at his sheer nerve. He called him a rookie and offered to let him tag along. Woo Jungguk just asked where this old man was delivering to be acting so cocky. The old guy smirked, saying they were heading to the exact same spot. Woo asked for specifics. The old man claimed he was going to Busan. Woo countered, saying his target was Incheon. Oh, Incheon, the old guy lied smoothly, saying he was totally going there too. Honestly, he was just trying to pull Woo away from those sketchy merchants. Now watch this part closely. Woo noticed the other postmen follow that hooded squad and asked what their endgame was. The old guy explained he came from a nearby colony and guessed those merchants had blocked off the area entirely. Woo asked how he figured that out. Just pure intuition, the old man grinned. Woo decided this guy was a total eccentric but experienced. Woo told him it was cool they had the same vibe, but they could definitely go their own separate ways. But the old man insisted on tagging along to Incheon anyway. Woo bluntly reminded him he literally never asked for company. The old guy just smiled. Great, then they would team up. Woo felt a seriously heavy aura from the old man, but still introduced himself as Woo Jungguk. The old man laughed, saying his name was also Woo. They shared the exact same surname. He rambled that all Woos come from the legendary Danyang clan. They were practically blood brothers, and he totally knew it from the first glance. Woo Jungguk figured letting Mr. Intuition tag along was just a calculated risk at this point. The little old guy asked if he was aiming for the AAA given that place rejected all messages. Woo replied it was his job, so he would try. He noticed the old man perfectly matching his walking rhythm. He had rejected the merchants, claiming he wanted to face the danger zone totally solo. It was pretty obvious now. Just as Woo Jungguk suspected, the old man totally sensed that group's intentions. He naturally moved toward him without making a single sound. This guy was an absolute pro, Woo was completely sure. The short old man pointed out the sunset. Woo decided they could crash in that abandoned building for maybe 2 hours max. Later, chilling in the pitch black, Woo noticed the old guy passed out instantly. Or maybe he was just faking it like an absolute boss. He even slept gripping his bag, definitely hiding some kind of crazy self-defense weapon in there. Woo planned to nap for 30 minutes and then take guard duty. But right after shutting his eyes, a weird noise suddenly broke the silence. He drew his gun. You and I probably expected betrayal, right? But he was face to face with the old man aiming back. Both realized instantly they weren't aiming at each other. They were locked onto a third person sneaking up. The old guy asked if it was Kim. Kim stumbled in, confessing those hooded merchants faked being nice, interrogated him, dragged him to the middle of nowhere, and robbed absolutely everything. Woo Jungguk yelled at him to freeze. No sudden movements. He fired a loud warning shot right by his foot. Kim slowly unzipped his dirty jacket, revealing a literal bomb strapped inside. The old man demanded answers. Kim cried that they had a kid with them, so they honestly didn't look like dangerous people at all. Woo Jungguk scoffed. That was literally the oldest looter trick in the book. They even bragged about a colony. Think about it. If they had a real base and were normal, they would never drag a 5-year-old child on a deadly mission. That kid was just bait to make clueless survivors lower their defenses completely. He bluntly stated that sticking around meant a total wipeout. The old man nodded, guessing the snipers were already watching this very building. Shu knew whoever wired that explosive was hidden nearby, waiting to trigger the massive blast. They turned Kim into a walking trap to kill any rescuers ready to swoop in and loot the leftovers. So what do you and I learn here? Trust no one. Woo apologized, told Kim he was done for, and ordered everyone to pack while Kim helplessly begged, "Stick with me here." Woo Jungguk orders him flat on the ground, asking exactly where the explosive is. Kim says it is just the front. With Kim pinned down, Woo demands that if he is hiding any info about those guys, he better spill it right now. Kim confesses they have dozens of goons. 2 seem to be the big bosses, and they are hiring sketchy mercenaries to ambush a whole different colony. But he has zero clue where the base actually is. Woo Jungguk realizes hiring mercs means these guys are not your average street thugs. This is a massive crew, and the guy Kim talked to was definitely top brass. The old-timer chimes in, promising to report everything the second he hits the headquarters. Kim begs, asking if there is literally any other way out. Woo just coldly replies that knowing your end and accepting it is actually a huge blessing. Because honestly, anyone could get wiped out by a random monster, sniper, or carpet bombing. In this messed up world, people just vanish. So they calmly walk out, and Kim blows himself up right along with the whole building. Fast forward to morning breakfast. The old man casually asks Woo Jungguk why he is suddenly so curious about those crazy looters. Woo smoothly replies that they messed with a postman. Obviously, he has to file a report, and that means he needs solid intel. The old guy raises an eyebrow. Just a report, Woo fires back, asking if he looks like a guy out for blood. The elder mentions Kim had a core item, noting it was wild he waited until the literal last second to even try using it. Woo says if it was rare, those punks missed out big time. But the old man disagrees. It was likely a skill core with a massive failure rate. If it were him, he would treat it like a final trump card, only activating it when death was absolutely staring him down. Woo points out the harsh truth. Pressing that button is never easy when push comes to shove, even when you know you are done for. Now pay attention here. The old guy realizes Woo is seriously built different, packing a crazy rare hunter's pistol with a custom laser barrel. Woo strictly tells him to keep his mouth shut. The elder laughs, wondering who would even believe a mailman is carrying elite hunter gear. Woo casually claims he just found it lying around. The old dude immediately tells him to stop capping. Honestly, Woo remembers swiping it on his way out right after dumping his official gear the day he officially quit the hunter life. Playing sensei or surviving in a squad, never his vibe. Flying solo as a postman was the absolute dream. Though this specific job was getting incredibly weird. Night falls again, so they sneak into a building. The old man nervously warns him. The place screams total danger. Total monster territory. But Woo's eyes suddenly shift color as his ability kicks in, calculating a measly 4% chance of actual danger. He brushes off the old-timer, saying the odds are practically zero, and he is just letting his gut lead the way. Same goes for the elder. Sometime later, Woo snaps awake, completely clueless about how long he was out. Sunlight is hitting his face, and he is totally alone. The elder vanished, and that is a massive red flag. Where the grandpa went did not even matter. The real issue, Woo never heard him leave. His guard was down, meaning he was getting rusty again. Slipping up like this was becoming a bad habit. He stopped beating himself up though, because stressing out was just mentally exhausting. You see this coming right. In the distance, he finally spots the anti-aircraft artillery base, basically massive cannons, just waiting for them. It is a hardcore camp built by military deserters who hijacked ancient weapons. To them, those heavy cannons are their ultimate pride and shield. Originally meant to blast jets from the sky, they are totally outdated steel relics. But Woo knows these rogues tweaked them to blast human targets. It is so bad, even the government totally ignores this nightmare zone. Literally dubbed the settlement of zero hope. The real puzzle is breaking inside. He flashbacks to a chat with Dr. Mong, asking why a lazy bum like him would voluntarily waltz into a hellhole the military refuses to even touch. He had simply told her he only tries hard when it is strictly necessary, plus his luck stat was always maxed out. When Woo strolls up, a guard barks that they refuse all mail and tells him to scramble. Woo smirks, claiming he underestimates postmen. Beyond dropping off packages, they also sound the alarm on airstrikes. The guard sneers, asking if a black pillar is dropping right now. Woo calmly says, "Nope, just here for the letter." The soldier aggressively points at a massive cannon out back. He barks that one signal will blow Woo entirely in half, demanding he leave immediately. But Woo knows anti-aircraft shells are too precious to waste on a random mailman. It was a heavy threat, sure, but mostly a total bluff. He wasn't entirely sure, but his luck never failed him before. So what do we take from this? He just strolls forward, bragging that delivering to an anti-aircraft fortress will make his career stats absolutely skyrocket. Stick with me here because we are about to watch this crazy postman skip the safe routes to level up fast. Dr. Mong called him lucky, but he knew the absolute truth. Being born into an actual apocalypse meant his luck was absolutely garbage from day one. The guard looked at him like he was entirely insane, but Woo Jungguk just smiled, saying he was delivering that mail no matter what. Surviving all those deadly missions had nothing to do with random luck anyway. This guy, he could literally see probability. He straight up grabbed the weapon and shoved the barrel right against his forehead. "Shoot or take the mail." He gave the guy an ultimatum, already betting everything that the giant gun was completely out of ammo. The guard was sweating, freaking out over how this stranger knew they shot all their bullets during the last hunt. Plus his gun was being yanked away like a toy. Why was this postman so ridiculously strong, and why the creepy smile? Normal soldiers do not just grin with a loaded weapon shoved right in their face. Now watch this carefully. He casually shoved the gun back, knocking the guard flat. This postman was an absolute madman on a mission. Someone else walked up and our crazy mailman just shrugged, saying he was only there for a delivery and wanted to negotiate. The newcomer growled about not dealing with outsiders, but then stopped dead. Was this First Sergeant Woo Jungguk? That sparked a flashback with Yong Han, who used to joke about his super clean record. See, before dropping packages, Jungguk was a hardcore hidden hunter, working as an elite instructor, shaping up other rookies. His whole job was teaching kids how to stay alive in this totally ruined world. But then things went south. Monsters swarmed the base, and just as he figured playing team sports was not his vibe, he quit the hunter gig and took a massive demotion, dropping from colonel to first sergeant, landing right in a frontline suicide squad. A literal death sentence. But during those brutal, endless days, he had one super weird rookie under his command. Just a guy always smiling, spitting old-school military slang like he was acting in some retro army movie with super formal speech. And that exact same guy was standing right there. He said it had been ages since they let strangers inside. Jungguk totally knew that face. The old friend admitted nobody else here wanted company, joking about how many insane years had passed since they last met. Jungguk smirked, noticing the guy was also a first sergeant now. The subordinate laughed, asking what he should call his former boss today. "Just a mailman," Jungguk replied. But his buddy warned him he had to meet the base captain before dropping off any packages. Jungguk groaned, asking if that was actual protocol. Yep, it was, and he absolutely despised those military rules. His friend got dismissed upon arrival, leaving the base captain completely alone with our delivery guy. The captain glared, asking if he caused the ruckus outside. Jungguk calmly replied that ruckus was a strong word. Knowing he used to run with Sergeant Yong, the boss asked if he was an ex-soldier. Jungguk gave a simple nod. Looking around, Jungguk noticed from the outside this outpost actually looked like a decent military base. But I know you see it too. Trash everywhere, smelling like pure death. They were getting zero supplies and completely running on fumes. The captain demanded he follow the rules and introduce himself properly like a real soldier. But Jungguk just shrugged. He was full-time delivery, now totally forgetting how to salute and not caring one single bit. He worked on his own terms. Tossing out a cheesy sales pitch, he claimed he was a Republic of Korea postman offering fast carrying service within 7 days. The boss gagged, asking what the hell that cringy slogan was. Jungguk smirked, saying corporate protocol was just naturally gross for every working professional. The job was painfully simple. Hand over one specific letter directly to the target, no exceptions, right into their hands. The captain snapped that the AAA faction was actively fighting the monopolizing government, meaning official mail was completely off limits here. Under normal rules, any outsider walking up would just get shot immediately. But since Sergeant Yong vouched for him, Jungguk was apparently built totally different. If he agreed to one tiny condition, the captain would allow the mail drop. Jungguk raised an eyebrow, asking for the catch. More like a dirty trade. The boss would give full base support, but in return, Jungguk had to smuggle him out of this hellhole. Cut to later, Jungguk was up top inspecting the massive anti-aircraft guns. Yong walked up asking what was going on. "Just checking gear," Jungguk replied. "Trust me, we know this is wild." 30 minutes ago, Jungguk literally told the boss risking everything for one single letter was completely ridiculous. But the captain shoved a heavy bag of 25 rare monster cores on the table, calling it an advance payment. "Stick with me here." Woo Jungguk tells the soldiers the captain put him on anti-aircraft cannon inspection duty just so he could deliver this letter. The captain had totally suspected an escape plan earlier. Worst case scenario, Jungguk might actually have to fight those cannons. Sergeant Yong was completely shocked he got inspection duty. Jungguk played it cool, no choice if he wants this delivery done. Plus in his head the grand escape plan was definitely still on. Refuse the captain, they would have tossed him out instantly before a single letter even got delivered. Yep, our guy just walked right into a massive headache. Jungguk scopes the area out. Jung notes the sergeant is sharp and usually sees through lies. But hey, Jungguk is just a humble postman now. Except his overpowered ability lets him spot exact mechanical flaws instantly. He can see exactly how a machine runs, whether it breaks, and the literal probability pops up as floating numbers. But it has limits. For absolute precision, he actually needs to touch it directly. He calls this communion. Once he links with an object physically, he can track it perfectly from miles away. That is why he was scanning the cannons. Everything looked normal. Jung thinks he looks disappointed but praises his crazy speed. Jungguk shrugs, saying it was just a quick surface scan. Jung figures his power only lets him see things, not actually change them. Now pay attention here. Jung guides the delivery while Jungguk is secretly planning to wreck those cannons for his escape. Jung says they can finally deliver it safely. Jungguk asks about this Jo Shin-hee person. Turns out she is a former army vet who got stuck playing local human doctor because they have zero staff. She quit the military life ages ago now, just living quietly as a civilian with her little sister. Jungguk figures she will be way easier to deal with than soldiers. Not so fast. Jung warns the older sister is crazy, suspicious of everyone. What exactly is Yonghan's connection to them? Jungguk wonders this, as they finally walk up to the sister's house. Jung whispers they need to play it super safe to avoid any massive trouble. The younger one is super sweet. The older sister, pretty but an absolute nightmare. Classic comedy timing. Right after saying that, Jung literally kicks the door until she storms out completely furious. The blonde demands to know who they are. Jungguk roasts her, saying he is obviously a postman, asks if her eyes are broken, and demands her sister. The actual recipient has to confirm. She goes totally quiet, then surprisingly invites them inside. Jung is absolutely mind-blown. Soon the letter hits the table. She apologizes for her attitude and formally introduces herself as Jo Shin-hee. Her sister ran off somewhere, so she offers to give him a proof of receipt since he is clearly a very hardworking mailman. She accepts the mail. Jungguk thinks the journey was brutal, but the actual delivery went suspiciously smooth. You and I know something is weird here, right? He gets an old used envelope as proof. Wait, this means she has already been getting letters from Yonghan. But the soldiers said zero mail ever gets delivered here successfully. Headquarters would definitely freak out over a real delivery. So Jungguk just bluntly asks if she is secretly using an underground illegal mail service. Black market delivery means skipping the annoying government rules just to make a quick personal profit. She is totally caught off guard. She actually assumed Jungguk was a black market smuggler too. Jungguk smirks, saying he loves side cash, but he is just a normal guy following strict protocols. She laughs, saying just surviving the trip proves he is definitely not ordinary. He asks how she sneaks messages to headquarters. She clarifies it is not actually a two-way exchange. Her brother only sends things one way. Is Yonghan actually her younger brother? She says he literally just needs proof she is still alive. On his way out, she asks about a creepy masked postman. Jungguk nods. He has definitely heard the wild rumors about that guy. People say he is legendary, but Jungguk finds his extremely low success rate super sketchy. Could he be the illegal smuggler? Rumor says some huge shot is backing him up. So what do we make of this masked guy? Shin-hee thinks his scary mask is totally ridiculous. Woo Jungguk just shrugged, joking that maybe the guy simply hated his own face. Stick with me here. She teased him, asking if he skipped the mask because he knew he was actually pretty handsome. He just grabbed his proof and headed out. But before he left, Shin-hee asked him a favor if he saw her sister tell her to hurry home. He pointed out he had no clue what this girl even looked like, but Shin-hee just smiled, promising he would instantly know when he saw her. Walking away, it finally clicked. He understood that guy's dying words. But the mission? Not even close to being over yet. First up, meeting the captain. Passing by a soldier muttered something crazy. It was the very first time Shin-hee ever let a stranger inside her house. Jungguk told him to cut the chatter and asked a serious question. Was their captain actually a guy you could trust? Shortly after, he stepped right into the captain's room. The captain claimed everything was ready, pointing to a massive bag. He swore it only held the absolute bare minimum for surviving their upcoming escape. But when Jungguk asked one simple question, the captain instantly flinched. Something felt way off. Jungguk demanded to know what was in the bag. The captain nervously listed clothes, food, water, and medicine. Just basic survival gear. Jungguk smirked, saying those were definitely important, which meant they should totally leave it behind. Think about it. You only need gear if you actually survive the escape. Rule number 1. Ditch anything heavy that slows you down. The captain argued back instantly, calling him totally reckless for not planning ahead. Jungguk fired back. That logic only works if the bag actually held basic supplies. Watch closely here. He kicked the bag and someone screamed. Jungguk laughed, saying he never knew basic food and water could make noises. Suddenly a blonde girl wiggled right out of the luggage, awkwardly waving hello. Jungguk stared. Was this Shinhee's missing sister? He sighed, mentioning he just saw her older sibling who literally just told her to hurry home. He glared at the captain, demanding an explanation. This escape plan was strictly meant for 2 people, right? Price just went up. He wanted more money for this. The girl quickly introduced herself as Joanna, super excited to join his team. Going over the new escape plan, the captain asked if 3 people were really enough. Absolutely not. Since Joanna crashed the party, Jungguk said they had to scrap the old plan completely. They needed 2 more guys. The captain guessed Sergeant Yang for the first spot, which Jungguk confirmed, but for the second, he nervously asked if it was Shinhee's masked guy. This actually shocked Jungguk. Wait, that shady masked postman was hiding at the AAA. The captain looked at him like he was crazy, asking if postmen seriously never talked to each other. Jungguk explained their rule. Every postman minded their own business, surviving alone as long as nobody messed with their money. That meant the masked guy definitely knew Jungguk was here, especially if he thought another postman was trying to steal his illegal delivery route. I know what you are thinking. Absolute disaster, right? The smartest move was keeping that guy completely out of their plan. Jungguk asked how the captain even knew the guy was around. Turns out, he was literally standing in this exact room moments ago. Jungguk squeezed every drop of info about this masked freak out of the captain, piecing together the whole crazy puzzle. This base was not cut off at all. The greedy commanders were secretly trading with the outside world, using the masked postman as their smuggler. He was their golden ticket, bringing in rare intel and vital supplies from outside. Meanwhile, the clueless regular soldiers were completely starving, running completely out of food and bullets. That masked guy completely cornered the illegal market, basically stealing every single bullet in the camp. The captain remembered the very first time he visited, bringing a random package just to deliver. Jungguk called it instantly a total test. The captain nodded. Back then, the guy acted totally pathetic, like the command's loyal little dog, but Jungguk saw right through it. In reality, the command was acting as the postman's helpless pets. The guy was dangerous, but the escape plan had to happen. Joanna suddenly asked about her sister. Would Shinhee actually join them after refusing for so long? Jungguk admitted he had not fully convinced Shinhee yet, but honestly, he was totally ready to drag her out by force if he had to. Joanna looked confused, asking why he cared so much when he could easily run away alone. The captain chimed in, bringing up that massive 25-core payment. Jungguk smirked. The money was great, but he still had an unfinished mission. Some doctor always called him a total mess, but beneath the bad attitude, he actually tried his best to finish every single client's request, because what Junghoon asked for back then was way more than just delivering mail. Jungguk never read the letter, but the goal was simple. He needed to get Junghoon's family out of the AAA and back to headquarters safely. You and I both know the stakes now. Complete the delivery in 2 days and everyone survives. Let's see if he pulls it off. Let's dive right back into the madness. Woo Jungguk realized his delivery wasn't just a letter anymore. He had to escort both sisters safely back to headquarters. Joanna grabbed his hand, begging him to convince her super stubborn sister to leave. Despite the attitude, she cared about them the most. And when she touched him, Jungguk immediately noticed the thick calluses on her fingers. No problem. He casually promised to either talk Shinhee into leaving or physically drag her. The captain just laughed. He thought Sergeant Young was totally exaggerating about this postman guy, but maybe the crazy rumors were actually true. Word on the street, Jungguk soloed an entire horde unit platoon. Plus, he supposedly came from a terrifying Black Ops squad you never join. It looked like our boy Jungguk had shown up to bust everyone out. He knocked on Shinhee's door bluntly, announcing that the Great Escape was happening tomorrow night. Pack light, grab the essentials. But classic Shinhee just crossed her arms and said she literally never agreed to this escape plan. She told him to just find Joanna and send her back. She absolutely refused to leave. Jungguk fired back. Was she seriously going to sit in the AAA base until it completely collapsed, dragging her little sister down with her? She admitted this place was a doomed trash fire. But in her eyes, the outside world was just as horrible anyway. But Jungguk pointed out she'd at least be with her family. He promised he would get them out of this hellhole safely. The next day, Jungguk double-checked every single detail of the breakout. The corrupt command suspected absolutely nothing. Now pay attention because things go sideways fast. He sabotaged the cannons perfectly. But when they sneaked out into the rain, heavy artillery suddenly fired. Jungguk screamed for everyone to scatter. Someone literally lost an arm. The jerk who reloaded those cannons and pulled the trigger, the masked one. Wait, the captain had just been coordinating with Jungguk moments before. He had gone straight to the rebellious AAA commander claiming he needed to report a highly suspicious postman making trouble. Walking in, the captain immediately noticed the boss was hoarding massive amounts of prime food and fresh water. so he played along, confirming he had dirt on the postman. Yesterday, Jungguk had pitched his crazy plan they would literally just stroll out using a trade deal as their cover. Since the base was used to the masked one making shady backdoor deals, they completely forgot how a legit postman actually operates. Joanna was totally confused by this strategy. The captain smiled. Among actual soldiers, a postman is basically a walking golden carriage. When postmen roll through settlements, they always trade. Since they travel between headquarters and random bases, they carry insanely useful high-tier loot for the residents. Jungguk said they were going to milk that exact loophole. Only the top brass benefited from the masked one's illegal smuggling. With starving soldiers everywhere, the command essentially had nothing left to lose. The real trick was baiting the command by claiming Jungguk had secretly stashed top-tier supplies, supposedly hidden right outside the base. The commander eagerly asked if this intel was solid. The captain swore it was real, suggesting Jungguk lead a search party. You see where this is going, right? The perfect distraction. Later on, Jungguk linked up with Sergeant Jung, who proudly showed off the smuggled weapons. The captain praised his hustle and thanked him for helping. Jung got nostalgic. He brought up the terrifying day monsters overran the base back when they still blindly followed headquarters orders. They had thrown themselves into the meat grinder together, genuinely believing they were sacrificing their lives to protect civilians. Plot twist, they weren't protecting people at all. They were just meat shields for the command's embezzled luxury goods. They literally bled just to buy time for corrupt bosses to move stolen cargo. The captain sighed, admitting that's exactly why the fed-up lower ranks ditched the military and founded the rebellious AAA faction. But Jung smiled. All he remembered was the captain strapping a half-dead Jung to his back and sprinting through hell. The captain saved his life so Jung would follow him anywhere. The captain chuckled, saying if they survive tonight, drop the formal ranks completely. Call him whatever he wanted. But mid-conversation, Jung caught something creeping in the dark hallway. A hooded masked figure lurking in the shadows. But he brushed it off, thinking his eyes were just playing tricks. As the sun set, storm clouds rolled in. Jung grinned, hoping the heavy rain was their lucky break. The captain officially filed the fake search party report. Now only the massive anti-aircraft cannon stood in their way. Jung nervously asked if they were absolutely sure no one would interrupt the sabotage mission. The captain smirked. His unit controlled that battery, meaning no random guards would show up. Jung could smash the electronics to pieces without sweating it. The stage was set. The cannon firing circuits at the escape route were sliced, and Jung was busy rigging the sentry rifles to completely fail. Once they breached that main gate, they just run. Trust me, you're gonna want to see this. Let's dive right in. Jungguk knew weapons were useless tonight. The real MVP, his communion skill. With it, he could read the exact future probabilities from a distance until the very end of the night. Right now, 0% chance of failure. He couldn't risk any random variables showing up, grabbing the sisters and setting a meetup with the captain. The captain spots a massive stash of food and water. Total irony, right? Finally getting the supplies he begged for right before they make their big escape. Cut to the base where clueless soldiers wonder who takes the next shift. But wait, they spot a weird guy hanging around. This is a restricted zone, so who the heck is this? Another guard sighs, asking if he totally forgot Captain Choi's orders. The postman was cleared for nighttime entry. Just check the guy's armband. Still, the first guard is highly suspicious. Seriously, what kind of sketchy postman dresses like that? And that bizarre mask, totally not normal. Scene shift, the guy just hands over an upfront payment of 25 cores. He laughs, finding it hilarious that the price didn't even come up yet. He literally hadn't even asked for it. Jungguk planned to collect after escaping, but the captain argues carrying that much debt out there would just become a massive burden for them later. Jungguk thinks if you knew that, why even bother asking? Still, he takes the upfront payment and casually says, thanks anyway. The guy jokes about getting a refund if the escape fails. Jungguk deadpans back that he'd give exactly half of it as a refund, and if he completely failed but somehow survived, he'd happily return the other half. Jungguk points at the mysterious core sitting in his bag, but the guy dodges the question. He claims it would be way too long a story. Right after the girl walks in complaining about her boring outfit, her sister completely shuts it down. They really had zero choice here. A civilian would attract instant attention. Annoyed, she then asks why she doesn't get to wear a cool mask like the others. Jungguk explains the cover story. The postman supposedly brought hidden medical supplies, so Shinhee had to pretend to inspect the cargo before they entered the base. As for Ina, the fake report just listed her as one extra companion alongside Choi Shinhee and the postman. Jungguk smirks. If a garbage report like this got fully approved, it meant command was completely asleep at the wheel tonight. Watch closely now. It was go time. The objective. Simple. Survive and break out. Drop absolutely anything heavy that slows you down unless it's extremely valuable and light enough to carry easily. Carrying dead weight out there was basically just suicide. Choi mentions grabbing useful gear on their way out, things like smoke grenades, burner equipment, and a small stash of emergency rations. If the food was just going to slow them down, they were much better off just eating it right beforehand. Back in the pouring rain, they prepare to move. A guard stops them, but Jungguk bluffs perfectly. Didn't comms already inform you about the new report? He claims they're just heading outside to retrieve some crucial supplies the postman stashed. Shinhee whispers, is the postman actually okay? Jungguk replies, he'll be completely fine until they hit the forest and disappear from sight. Jungguk figures if things had already gone sideways, they would absolutely know by now. He actively tracked every single potential threat. Everything was under control. Once past the gates, it was a straight sprint to the hidden settlement. Outside, the girl asks if they're finally safe. Jungguk shuts that down fast. Not yet. Do not drop your guard for a second. Suddenly, he spots a massive red flag. He asks Choi is leaving the main gate wide open, actually normal after deploying a search team. You and I both know, the answer is no. Something was terribly wrong. A pursuit team was definitely coming. Jungguk orders everyone not to look back, telling them to focus entirely on his voice alone. Still, he feels slightly relieved. At least the base realized they were gone a bit late. He admits their cover is completely blown, but it's fine since the base weapons won't work. Stay calm. Drop the smoke grenades the absolute second he gives the order. Wait 3 seconds, then sprint for the trees. But suddenly the giant cannon moves. He freezes. Were the future probabilities actively changing right now? The cannon's probability updated to 100%. How is that even possible? No time to think. He screams at everyone to run immediately, but it's already way too late. Boom, Choi takes a brutal direct hit. Looking up, he sees the masked postman. Choi doesn't understand why his legs lock up, trembling completely out of control. He realizes the massive cannon barrel is aimed dead at him. 0 chance to dodge this shot. 99.9% chance of death. Then he remembers the old man's words, Kim had a secret core, only meant to be used on the absolute brink of death. Instinctively, his fingers are already tightly gripping that secret core. Only the second one he'd ever held in his life. Meanwhile, a voice on the radio orders Checkpoint 46 to treat all members of the escaping search team as immediate hostile targets. A clueless soldier asks what that means. Trust me, we'll find out. Stick with me, guys, because from this moment, the masked villain just got full control of the anti-aircraft gun. This creepy masked guy spots our postman moving super weirdly and decides he is going to wipe everyone out himself. But just as the bullets fly, a blinding flash of light totally catches the villain off guard. It is Jungguk, and his core is glowing like crazy. Suddenly the scene cuts to a subway. Did our boy just die? He literally gambled his life on a 99.9% fail rate. A voice next to him sighs, saying this ending was totally unavoidable. It is Hiju. She points out that things are different this time around. Unlike his childhood, he actually triggered the core himself. Jungguk argues it was the exact same situation. Sure, he could have run, but using the core was his only play to escape that creepy old man alive. She reminds him that the core is the only reason he is still breathing today. He scoffs, though. To him, this crazy power is literally just a glorified, sparkly way of running away. You and I know the struggle. All he sees are math equations, and he cannot boost that 0.9% rescue rate. She challenges him, asking if he even gets what those numbers mean. There is always a backup plan, but he just sits back and watches. Some crazy people would risk everything on a 1% chance. But Jungguk, he admits he always picked the slightly safer route like a coward. That safe route is exactly why he lived but never saved anyone else. Being a loner was always the easy way out. But now, he is totally doomed. The ghostly train halts, and he wonders if it is his final stop. Out of nowhere, the girl kicks him hard. She yells that this is not his stop, and this whole train is just his imagination. She orders him to wake up and actually change his destiny, instead of treating his probability powers like a cheap calculator. He snaps back to reality, wondering if the core actually worked. Surprisingly, he is alive, his whole body is burning up, and he tastes iron, which honestly might be a delayed glitch from a totally botched skill. Now, watch closely. The probability numbers floating in front of him are going completely crazy. The cannon firing rate is still at a fatal 99.9%, but suddenly it glitches, dropping all the way to 0.1. The masked boss is super confused while a grunt panics because the gun just died. Annoyed, the boss decides to check the massive barrel himself. Jungguk stares in shock. The terrible odds did not just shift, they completely flipped. He has no clue how, but the core basically just put his powers on steroids. Gripping his pistol, he calculates that taking out the massive anti-aircraft battery with one bullet is a pathetic 0.7% chance. Worse, his legs are dead weight, and the giant cannon is still locked onto him. He desperately needs to hack that stupid number in his vision. Suddenly, a blinding aura explodes from him. His bag is literally cooking. He remembers the train girl telling him to stop being a passive spectator. In a flash, his hit rate skyrockets to 99.3%. Meanwhile, the enemy grunt fixed the cannon and is waiting, but the masked boss is gone. Jungguk smiles. He is officially done playing it safe. From now on, he creates his own luck. He shoots the barrel, blowing it up. Trust me, you will love what happens next.